Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, day 11. Congratulations. I hope you feel a relationship is building between you and mindfulness. So, I've gotten a couple questions in regards to when you're attempting to be mindful. Are you focusing on everything, or are you focusing on one thing? Is one better? Is one right? Is one less than? Is one wrong? And so this is why I explain the focus, attention, and open monitoring categories of meditation that modern, I suppose, psychologists have created to understand a vast array of meditative techniques. And so mindfulness in general is open monitoring meditation, meaning you're paying attention to everything and in that sort of nothing. And the trick is understanding that your thought process, which we take very personally, our thoughts are very sticky in terms of attractiveness. Even negative thoughts are very attractive to us, so we ruminate on them. They're hard to, they're bitter, but they're attractive. So open monitoring becomes difficult when it comes to our minds because we tend to latch on to the particular thought. Of course we do. But then eventually the mind sort of returns to this open monitoring state. And so within open monitoring, there are fluctuations or waves in your experience while you're meditating of focus. You focus on the bird, then you're kind of paying attention to everything, then all of a sudden you're focusing on your face, and then you're paying attention to everything, and then you're focusing on your bills, and then you're focusing on everything. So this fluctuating between sort of like a narrowing field of focus and an expanding field of focus is part of open monitoring and what mindfulness in its essence is. You're sitting there, you're just connected to the moment. As sort of playful as the analogy might be, I just think of a ninja sitting in a tree, right? They're just sitting there, listening and connecting to like every sound in the forest. Focus attention meditation is very different, and you should feel the difference. It's when you instill the willpower, the need to lock onto this one little thing. And the struggle still is the mind wanders. Now it wanders in the opposite direction. It wanders into everything. And because of the context of the game, that wandering back into everything, where in mindfulness is sort of a relief, in focused attention meditation is sort of wrong. And so there's some pressure that can build, which is fine. Pressure is fine. So what we're going to get into now is actually flow state. I'm going to spend a little more time on the mindfulness, just because these questions came up like yesterday. So I don't want to just abandon that for flow. But flow is sort of the opposite of mindfulness, where you focus so intensely on a particular game, whether it's jump roping or meditation or breath work or painting. You're focused so intensely on a game or an object or an intention that the mind sort of dissolves and again leaves you in this openness. But whereas the openness of mindfulness is about connecting to the moment, the openness of flow, once you get past that like intense focus point, there's an internal sort of spaciousness. You're lost within yourself. The body, very similar to mindfulness, is performing its task, jump roping, painting, singing, playing soccer, or meditating. But there's this complete immersion or absorption in the inner. And so you put these two skills together, you see how they overlap, how they are the same, how they are different, and you have this really powerful understanding of how the mind operates through focus, attention, FA, and open monitoring. You have a very sort of palpable relationship between top-down and bottom-up focus. You have a very, very useful relationship with your mind. And that, back to what we were talking about the other day, that I think is a quality of every well-balanced citizen of the future. Sweet, and here we are doing that. So let's talk about mindfulness and focus, attention, or flow state meditation through the analogy of a photographer. I think this will help one last time, and then we'll get into the details of flow and see if we can enter flow in relationship to mindfulness. And so a photographer, they're sitting there, they're in the Himalayas, they want a photo of a snow leopard. They're sitting there all day. They have a choice to open or close their camera aperture. Open, obviously more light comes in. And this is symbolic of open monitoring meditation. The aperture of your mind is opening, right? Like the pupil of an eye, and every bit of data, every bit of sensory experience is permitted in and is wanted. Or the photographer can see something up close, close the aperture, less light comes in. And this is obviously a metaphor for focused attention meditation. The aperture of the mind contracts, closes, and all you have is enough light for one little thing. Regardless of whether the aperture is open or closed, the photographer can lose themselves in the experience. They can be completely absorbed in the act of having an open or closed aperture and receiving the photo with the shallow depth of field or the large depth of field with complete absorption. So the photographer can be in flow. Whether you're in open-minded meditation and you're listening to everything, or you are in focused attention meditation and you're focused on one thing, you can enter flow state. You can be completely absorbed in the task or the effort at hand. And so what does it take to enter flow? There are some specifics that we will get into in the days to come, but right now I just want you to use the word merge, right? So neurolinguistics is a science that studies that language, right? They are truly spells cast into our mind, and that when you commit to, the concept of a word, enough just to say it in the mind, it changes the way you interact with the moment. And you'll feel this. The word merge will mean what it means, and you will more than likely, if you just repeat the word sincerely and are open to it, merge or absorb yourself more into the process at hand just because you essentially reminded yourself through the word merge. Merge with mindfulness, merge with an open aperture, merge with this moment completely, and you should feel a deeper experience within your practice. That deeper experience is flow. That deeper experience is a change in your chemical composition. It is not necessarily the open-mindedness of mindfulness. It is your willingness to merge with that experience or that mental state. Hope that makes sense, right? Cool. So merge with what you've been practicing. Day 11, super powerful word. Let's see if it works. Okay. Comfortable seated position. So we're still working with mindfulness. Our aperture is open. All data, all light, all image is allowed into us. And so as you set yourself up, as everyone sets themselves up, back to well-balanced citizens of the future, you're really learning how to interact with your mind. It's literally, or I guess figuratively, the same as me throwing a camera in your hands and you figuring out, all the details of how to use a camera. You're learning an instrument. What you do with this, skill is variant, personal, for you to discover. But it's pretty amazing the skill we're learning, what the meditative community or revolution, as Time magazine put it, is affording us. So let's take 3 minutes here, just settle into your situation, the frenzy or tranquility of your mind, the quiet or noisiness of your space, the day, what it involves, what it's attached to. Make yourself available to the moment. 3 minutes here. Slow down the breath. So the experience of mindfulness arises through the awareness that we are open monitoring, through the awareness that we are letting all information in. Mindfulness is paying attention to the present moment. Our bodies do that on purpose, with awareness, non-judgmentally. And so I think a hang-up might be a speed factor. Consider your mind bounces from thing to thing more quickly than you'd like, and it takes a little energy to follow along. And so it's very much like whack-a-mole, but instead of whacking the mole, I am aware of the mole. Up pops a new sound, up pops a new thought, up pops a familiar sensation. Notice the simmering manifestation of the moment. Slow down the breath. Consider this speed factor and be mindful here. Now, for the sake of time, repeat the mantra. I am aware of my breath in. I am aware of my breath out. And notice how that supports this awareness. Among the whack-a-mole, the simmering of experiences coming and going, there is now a consistency within the breath. And now the OM meditation is becoming a little bit focused, but not completely. The mind is still allowed to wander. Among other things, I am aware of my breath in. Among everything else, I am aware of my breath out. Slow down the breath. Among other things, this thought, that emotion, that sound, I am aware of my breath in, I am aware of my breath out. And so now you are the photographer with an open aperture, open monitoring. Everything is allowed in. And you happen to gently be focusing on the breath and the mantra just to ensure awareness. But essentially, you're just here. Non-doing, unbeing. Again, slow the breath. And so this is something to do. Just as a painter paints or a writer writes, a meditator just sits, just is. So now we have to enter flow with just being. Merge. Not necessarily with the technique, but with the moment. Merge with it. Let your brain figure that out through your body. Merge. Merge with hearing. Merge with feeling. Merge with thinking. Merge with being. Merge with breathing. Merge with noticing. Merge with presence. Merge with the moment. From non-judgmental presence to intimacy, you are interconnected with all of this. Be aware of that. Again, merge with the moment at hand, with what you are doing, with the recognition that you are in fact meditating. Like a ninja in the trees or a monk in the temple. You are uniquely connected and present to what's happening right now. Merge with exactly what's going on. And now everyone straighten your spine. New instruction. And dramatically slow down your breath. Dramatically. Everything else remains the same. This is a process. This meditation thing, it is a process. Think of the photographer, open aperture. All the light is allowed in. All the data of this moment is allowed in. Make sure that's happening at the end. Open monitoring. And now notice that you are open monitoring. You are being mindful on purpose with awareness. And that's it. Now in your final breaths, the word, the spell, merge. Merge with the essence of meditation that's transpiring right now. Merge with the moment that you're aware of. In some way, sense interconnectedness and open yourself to it. Merge. 3 breaths. If it is confusion, merge with that. If it is happiness, merge with that. If it is discomfort, merge with that. If it is pleasure, merge with that. Okay, with the breath in, open your eyes. All done.